theme for today is discouragement. Discouragement. Specifically, we'll be discussing how Satan uses discouragement. How Satan uses discouragement. Our primary text will come from Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 6 through 14. That's Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 6 through 14. You see, Nehemiah had a problem. He was working in a foreign land, and he got permission from his boss to go back home and to fix some situations back in his hometown, if you will. Because his home country was a place that was dedicated to true worship, the worship of the Most High God, Yahweh. Now, that place was in ruins. The people had been disobedient to God, and God allowed the place to get run down by its enemies. But it had been some time now, and it was time to restore his homeland. It would require that he goes back, that he was able to build and rebuild what had been ruined in his home country. So he asked his employer for permission, and the employer gave him permission, even some funds, to go and do exactly what it was he wanted to do. Truly, this was to be God's will. But you'll notice that it wasn't necessarily easy to rebuild something that had already been torn down, that was in shambles. A lot of people at that time were feeling discouragement about the idea that they could rebuild this place of true worship. One of Satan's most effective weapons against us is discouragement. Satan uses discouragement. Give me 1 second. Satan uses discouragement to convince us to give up, to help us or to make us believe that there is no point on continuing. Satan may be using discouragement in your life right now. You see, he uses temptation to try to tempt you to do something wrong. But the trials that he puts you through are very effective, oftentimes, in making you believe that you're alone, that it's not worth the fight, and that you can't do something that you actually can do. Satan has the ability to manipulate things around us, but he can't actually take away our literal power. Your power is a gift from God. Again, he can manipulate things around us, but he can't take away our actual force, our actual power. And so, he has to try to convince you that you are not powerful. He wants to get in your head. Satan's goal is to make you feel like you are weak, make you feel like you are not powerful, make you feel that you don't have resources that you may actually have, so that you give up, so that you don't continue trying. At Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 10, it says, "The strength of the laborers is failing, and there is so much rubble that we're not able to build the wall," said the inhabitants of Judah. In other words, the people of Nehemiah's hometown didn't feel invigorated or excited or like they could do it. They felt like they couldn't do it. They said that the people's strength was failing. They felt weak, not powerful. They said that there's so much rubble. They're not able to build the wall. We can't do it, is what they said. We can't. That word, can't. So limiting. Is it true, though? Remember, Satan's goal is to convince you that you can't, even when you can. A lot of times, when we say I can't, it's a lie. It's a lie that the devil wants us to believe. A lot of times when we say, I can't, we are repeating a lie that the devil wants us to believe. Notice that the devil did not go and tear the wall down. He didn't go and physically hold the people down so that they literally couldn't do it. He just made them believe in their perception that they couldn't do it. He made them believe they couldn't change the circumstances. One of Satan's greatest lies is making people believe that an obstacle is bigger than God's power. One of the devil's greatest lies is to make you believe that an obstacle, that a challenge, is bigger than God's power. What are you going through? You haven't fallen for this lie, have you? This idea that whatever you're experiencing, whatever the challenge, whatever the obstacle, the mountain to climb, that it's bigger than God's power, the creator of the universe. The moment we focus on the rubble, or like Peter focused on the storm, he started to sink when he was once walking on water. You may have been doing well, but you will start to sink if your perception becomes dominated by the obstacle instead of by the power of God. One of the ways that Satan feeds discouragement is with fear. Nehemiah 4:11 quotes saying, "Our enemies said, they will not know or see until we come among them, kill them, and put stop to the work." In other words, they were afraid their enemies were going to do violence against them because that was what their enemies said. Go to the thing that you fear, the fear that's holding you back. Are you actually repeating the rhetoric of your enemies? Go to the fear in your life, the fear that's holding you back. Are you actually repeating the campaign against you? Because there's a movement to work against you, to tear you down, and to convince you and everyone else that you can't do it. Are you repeating that instead of repeating the promise? It causes us fear if we listen to the voice of our enemies. It feeds our fear, and the fear feeds discouragement. It causes us fear to listen to the voice of our enemies. They were saying, well, our enemies said. That's where they already messed up. Your enemies said? Your enemies said? Why are you repeating what your enemies say? They are your enemies. They are not for you. They will be against you. Of course they will be against you. You don't repeat the sayings of your enemies. You focus on the promise of your God. Satan's tactic to try to win the battle is to get you to surrender based on imagined outcomes. He's trying to get you to fold. It's like poker, right? Where you're unsure of the other person's hand, and the game is played where you can scare someone into folding or giving up before they actually know whether they could have won or not. Don't give up before you get to the end of the battle, especially since the battle is already won in our favor. We're promised the victory. If you forget the promise because you're listening to the voice of your enemy, then you're not only creating fear, which feeds discouragement, but you're also sinning against your God, you know. Because how does it make your creator feel to see you listening to the enemy? With time that you could spend reading his word, the Bible, and encouraging yourself. You'll notice that God's word is not discouraging. It encourages you. It gives you courage, right? The antithesis of fear. We need more courage. We get more courage by reading more of God's word and listening less to the enemies. Because Satan repeats negative messages until people believe them. He says it over and over again. At Nehemiah 4:12. They said, "Then the Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times, wherever you turn, they will attack us." 10 times. They said that wherever you do, we're going to attack you. They kept saying it again and again and again and again. Why do they do that? Satan is trying to wear you down. Satan is trying to fool you, to trick you into believing that the obstacle is bigger than the power of God. That you should focus on what is in front of you, what looks formidable, what is against you, instead of focusing on the promise of your victory. The idea is to get you to fold instead of staying in the fight. That's how he wins. Doesn't that make sense though? Because if you're promised to win if you endure, then Satan can't beat you unless he gets you to stop enduring. So this is the strategy of the devil. It's to get you to give up. Because you're already promised the victory if you don't. So believers must continually renew their mind on God's word instead of rehearsing the fearful thoughts. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Let's look at that. Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. It says, "Do not be conformed to this system of things, to this world, but be transformed by renewing your mind." Do not be conformed to this world, be transformed by renewing your mind. Do not be conformed by listening to these people and what they say. Be transformed by reading the Bible. Because whichever voice you hear the most often is going to have the greatest influence over your thinking. And whatever your thinking is will have the greatest influence over your feelings. And whatever you're feeling is going to have the greatest influence over your actions. And whatever your actions are is going to have the greatest influence over your experience. So we have to be very careful who we listen to. And not be rehearsing the fear script and giving attention to the voice of our enemies. Satan wants you to quit before you get to see the certain victory that you're promised. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. It says, let us not grow tired of doing what's good. For eventually we will reap if we do not lose heart. Let us not grow tired doing good, for eventually we will reap if we don't lose heart. What does that mean? We will reap if we don't lose heart. Well, this was an agricultural society, right? So when they sowed the seed in the ground, they would reap the harvest, meaning pick the plants and the fruitage of what grew. You get the reward, the fruitage of your faithfulness, only if you endure. You realize that. Trying to be a good person and then giving up in the end will render your crop useless to you. You will not be able to reap the harvest. You'll get no reward. Again, if you're a good person and then you give up, there is no reward for you. You made all of your good works useless by giving up. So you must not give up. You must not lose heart. Losing heart means to become discouraged, to lose courage. The harvest belongs to those who refuse to quit. Many people stop praying just before they get their answer. They stop trying just before they reach their destination. Satan doesn't always need to destroy God's work. He can simply convince you to abandon it. If you gave up, you would be like a farmer who planted his crop. The entire field, he's hauling bags of seed out in the sun, putting them in the ground. He's digging, he's moving soil over. He's spraying pesticide to get rid of the pests. He's cultivating the ground. He's watering the seeds. He goes out and waters every single day. He's got to water an entire field. He's hauling buckets of water. And then he starts to see it grow. But before it gets to maturity where he can reap the harvest, he goes, you know what, farming's not for me, I give up. I just can't do it, he says. After all of that, that would be you if you gave up. You've done the hard part, you've worked hard, you've done all this work, and then you abandon it before you get the reward for all the work that you put in. Don't fall for Satan's tricks. Don't abandon your work. You stay at it. You stay at it. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 through 9. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 through 9. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking to devour. Resist him. Stay firm in the faith. Resist him and stay firm in the faith." It's good advice. It's telling us to be careful, be watchful, to recognize that the devil is seeking to devour. He's like a lion. Your behavior, if you're walking through a field, and I told you there's a lion here looking to eat you, just so you know, your behavior might be a bit different. You'd be paying attention, head out of swivel, looking both directions, listening for any crackling of leaves or twigs, because you know there's a lion seeking to devour. In the same way, you have to be aware not to fall for every trick of the enemy, because you know that the devil is looking to destroy you. So you have to be aware. If someone comes up to you and says something discouraging, you have to say, "Hey man, take the discouraging talk somewhere else. I don't want to hear that negativity." When someone tries to tell you you can't, you have to say, hey, I have to focus on God's power. If they talk like that about themselves, not good for you, because you could absorb their negative mindset. They say, I can't, I would, but I can't. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't. Would if you could, friends. They're not good friends for you. They might be good people, it's just they're discouraging. You're not walking about alert and vigilant if you're going to hang around what if I could people. They're already devoured. They're discouraged. They're ready to give up. So you have to resist discouragement by knowing that the devil is trying to attack you, and he's using people around you, in your own family, in your community, at your job, yes, even in your place of worship. He's using people around you to discourage you because he's discouraged them. And discouragement is a contaminant. It's contagious. And he wants his contagion of discouragement to spread amongst all of God's people so that they all stop and give up. And then Satan can look God in the face and mock him. That's why Proverbs 27:11 pleads with you, please, my child, be wise. Please me. Choose my side, in other words, so that I can make a reply to him that taunts me. The devil is taunting me. He's saying, ha ha, look, I can turn anyone against you. I can turn anyone away from you. I can make anyone give up. Are you going to let the devil talk to God like that? God is asking you to take his side, to show that Satan can't win, to prove with your life that Satan can't turn everyone against him. That's the most important issue in the universe. Not what you're going to eat and where you're going to work. That's not the most important issue in the universe. The most important issue in the universe is that Satan is accusing God of being a lousy ruler, unworthy of worship. Imagine that. Our wonderful God who created everything that is beautiful in nature. The earth, the sky, outer space, the planets. He's saying he's not worthy of worship. That's like saying we don't want to give credit to the creator of a video on social media. We're not going to give credit to the creator of the video. And the video is really good. The creator used brilliance, intelligence, genius, and hard work to get it done. We say, oh, we're not going to give credit to him. Look at how angry people get to see someone steal credit from a creator on social media. That's what Satan is trying to do to your God. He's trying to say, no, I don't want people to give you credit. I want people to despise you. I want them to hate you. And so Satan does little trickery things like harms a person and then stands in the corner in a shadow somewhere and points up at God. Says, look, that was God. God harmed you. And then he teaches false things, like everything happens for a reason. And God is manipulating all things. He's controlling all things. So God must have did that to you. And meanwhile, the scriptures don't say that. The scriptures say that Satan is walking around like a roaring lion. Satan is seeking to devour. Satan gave the trials to Job. Satan gave Job the sickness. Satan killed Job's children and his employees and his livestock. Satan did all of that. And then he tries to stand back so that you blame God. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. God is not to blame for the wickedness you see. He's not to blame for the bad things that happen to you. It's the devil. And the most important issue in the universe is who you will choose to be your ruler. Will you not be fooled by the devil's tricks and choose to worship only the true God who deserves your worship, who deserves credit for creation? Or will you, by default, serve Satan? Because there's only two sides. There's only two sides. You hear people say, oh, no, I'm not religious. Satan's side. Congratulations. You are an agent of the devil. I'm an atheist. Satan's side. Congratulations. You are serving the purpose of the devil. There's only supporting God's side as the true sovereign of the universe, the one who is worthy of your worship. And everything else, anything else that you choose to do, would be serving Satan's side. You say, no, I'm all about me. That's what Satan loves that. Congratulations, you're on Satan's team, the selfish team. Go for it. Now I'm just about making money, Satan's side. Congratulations. You have chosen the wrong side in the issue of universal sovereignty. So, the choice is up to you. You can be fooled and blinded, and you can allow yourself to be lulled to sleep so that the glorious truth of the good news doesn't shine through. You can ignore God's word. Or you can read it and study it and dedicate yourself to what it says and choose to glorify the true God, Yahweh, the creator of the heavens and the earth. You can choose his side. And if you do, in due time, you will reap the rewards of your harvest. In order to learn more about the Bible, typically on Sundays, I do a Bible study after we meet here. So I'll be doing that next week. And you're welcome to join us. If you don't know the channel that we meet on, just send me a direct message here. Send me a direct message, and I will give you the channel that we meet on for Bible study. So we'll do that next week after our Sunday sermon. Looking forward to meeting with you. Thanks for being here today and joining us for this little word. It was very nice to be able to share this with you. And we will see you soon.